I'm going to be showing you the 4-2-3-1 formation with custom tactics, player instructions and everything. So now I do use this as my default formation. I was using 4-4-2 before, but personally I just think this is much more balanced, but also helps out with more of attacking and defending. I just prefer it in game much more. I think it's much more useful to help me keep possession and also get wins and score more than it usually would be with using 4-4-2, which I did before. So if I go straight to my custom tactics, you can see on my game plans, I still have 4-2-3-1 on my ultra defensive. That's because I haven't actually updated it yet, because even though I do use this one balanced, but I will update that at some point. Probably in another video. So firstly, with defensive style, I go with balanced. I think it's the best one to use. Drop back, just don't use that. It's post patch. It's really changed a lot, and it's nowhere near as good as it used to be. Constant pressure, not really the right one to use for this. And then you can use pressure on heavy touch if you want to, but probably not as good as balanced as even if you're using it as your balanced formation. Also, if you do want to use it on defensive, it's probably the best one to use or attacking maybe, but it's probably not an ultra attacking or ultra defensive formation. Width, I reckon half is probably the best one to go with, because it's quite narrow formation anyway, so you don't want to make it too narrow when you're defending, otherwise it'll be quite pointless and not really work very well. Depth, sort of up to you, depending on how good you are at defending. Obviously, the better you are at defending, the probably higher you go, but obviously don't make it ridiculous. Also depends on the pace of your centre backs. So I do go one below the width. Yeah, so I probably will actually up this maybe to one up, just because sometimes I feel like all my defenders get trapped in the box, and there's not really much I can do. So I'm gonna up it to one above the. Actually, no, I'm gonna go one below. I'm gonna stay one below for now. So offensive style, you can use long ball or balance is probably the best one to use. Definitely not possession, and maybe fast build up. Possession is probably, I think it's probably the worst one by far. Out of offensive style, never worth it. You never really get an attack going. Fast build up's better this year than it was last year, I think. Easier to build up attacks, but I don't really like it. They never really make good runs for your attackers. Long ball, I feel like there's no one in the middle to pass to as well, but I do actually use this one quite a lot on other custom tactics. So I know I'll just stick with balance. I feel like it's working much better. Width, half is probably the best one to use. It's quite a narrow formation. Maybe you can go a bit narrow if you prefer narrow play, but that's up to you. I'm going to drop it one narrow myself now, because I feel like sometimes the cams can get too wide, but that's up to you, depending if you want your cams to play as wingers or not. Plays in box, just half is the best one to go with, not very important that. Corners and free kicks also very useless to have any higher than 2, so to stick with 2 will be enough, perfectly enough, whenever you're going to use them. So the formation you can see it's the 4-2-3-1. The first variation, definitely much better than the second variation. So make sure you're using the first variation. And for instructions, so my striker, I've built a new team. This team is worth, well, it's worth the same amount as my old team, but definitely much better for the money. So, my striker, you probably want to stay central, so they don't drift around too wide. You obviously want them to be in the middle, more likely to score goals in the middle, and easy to make through balls too, especially from your centre forward and wingers. Getting behind just so they're making those good runs, and then it'll just kind of stuck behind the defenders permanently, especially when you have fast strikers. And also stay forward just so they're not dropping back, so they're always up when you need them, and you can always make through balls to them. For your free cams, for your centre one, because they are different. So your centre one, you want to stay forward, and then default everything else. Stay forward just so they're helping out the strikers more, but if you want to, you can put basic defensive support, but I think stay forward's better, because you do already have 2 CDMs, so I don't think it's necessary to use basic defensive support, and definitely not come back on defence. Your 2 wide players, two wide cams, who usually act as wingers anyway. You just want to default everything. You don't want to have drift wide or free roam, because then they'll be too far out of position, and they'll be ridiculously wide or ridiculously out of position. So to use stick position, they'll go wide anyway naturally, also depending on what width you play. Also, you want them to come back on defence slightly more, because they have less help. They don't have the CDMs and the centre backs. They only have the full backs to help them out. For your 2 CDMs, you want passing lanes on both, just so they can't make the AI can't make those, or the rival people, or whoever you're playing against basically can't make those through balls through your centre back straight away. And you can cut out those passing lanes so that you make it defending easier and slower for them to build up an attack, and also easier to tackle them. Stay back so the difference is, also you want cover central on both of these, just they're not going out wide, they're staying central, helping your centre backs out. So you want to choose one CDM, it's probably the best idea. Choose one CDM to be your attacking CDM, and one to be your defensive one. I would use 9 Golan as my get forward one. So you want get forward on your attacking one, so helping out the attack more. And also you want cut past lane and cover centre, like I already said. And your more defensive one that you want to drop back, you can have either stay back while attacking or drop between defenders. I do probably prefer stay back while attacking. Actually, but I think I'm going to drop this, change this to drop between defenders for now. 2 centre backs obviously keep the same. You never want to touch them. Yeah, so you want to keep them the same. And your 2 fullbacks, you obviously want to stay back while attacking, which is probably the best one to use. I think most people use that now. Just make sure you have that stay back while attacking, or definitely don't join the attacking. This is an ultra attacking formation. Balanced attack maybe, but just recommend stay back while attacking, and then normal interceptions and a mixed attack. If you do want to, you can use where is it? Yeah, conservative interceptions on every player, but I don't really like it as much. I don't really know so much difference. And lastly, for your keeper, this is personal preference, nothing to do with the formation. But if you do, I do prefer it with comes for Cotton's FIFA keeper. I find they win the ball much more. It's much more useful to use. I don't know why my keeper is on long free kicks and what I've got on here. It's a little bit messed up. But that is going to be it for this video. So this was just a quick video showing you the 4-2-3-1. Formation-wise, probably the best formation in game right now. For attacking and defending, so just balanced play in general. But I won't end this video